Hey folks, in this video we'll be talking about the field layout for Worra Duels. If you have a starter deck, you should have an instruction card, and this is instructions 2 of 4. It'll have a little diagram here on the bottom of the card of the field layout, give you little numbers to indicate which cards are which. We're going to start by placing down our class card and our race card. The real nice thing about these cards is that they'll help you to determine what your total hit points and mana points are. If you take these cards together like this, you'll see my hit points are 36 and 4 and 27 and 1. So 40 hit points, 28 mana points all together. So those represent who I am, really. You're playing a role, and in this case I'd be playing a role of the Plains Elf Warrior. Next up we have our equipment. In this case I've got some leather armor. Go ahead and put down on the field. I've got my weapons, so I want to put those basically in my right hand, and then I've got my shield, put that in my left hand. Then I've got some additional items here, amulets and rings. These may modify my hit points and attributes, so keep that in mind. In this case, this amulet adds 4 additional mana points, so instead of being at 28, I would be at 32. So very handy amulet there. And then here's the rings. We typically put them to the right and to the left of the amulet to indicate that you're wearing all those things. Then we have the draw deck. The draw deck we typically put on the right side of the field, so put it down there, and then we've got the discard pile, which would be just above it. There's one more section, and that's number 7 on this diagram, and that's continuous cards. Continuous cards are any card that represents an ability or a guardian or an enchantment or something that's going to be ongoing. Every turn you're going to pay the mana cost, if there is a mana cost, for that continuous card during basically your first phase, just before your action phase. And an example of a continuous card I know that I have in this deck is the Fairy, for example. The Fairy lasts for 2 rounds. She would go in one of these 4 slots out on the field. She lasts for 2 rounds, and her effect would be to give me 2 elemental resistance. So quite handy if you're versus a mage, for example. So that's about it when it comes to the field layout. In the next video we'll be talking about the phases. So the phases are really important to make sure you know what you can and can't do on your turn. Stay tuned.